Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Master Division with various wins for the Shifang Basin and the Kohong Resorts in the Eastern Odyssey Tournament here in Golf Clash. The game. Before we take a closer look at all the shots and videos, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. For those of you that are looking for the best guides on the market for tour play and tournament play, scan the QR code here on the screen or you go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtom. You do have the link in the description down below and it will take you to our Patreon page where you see all our packages, and we do have something for each and every one. Follow the info box on the right hand side for the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there is always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. Hole number 5 of the Kohong Resorts is hole number 1 in the tournament, and we are looking to play down the fairway. You can play down the right as well. However, though, playing down the right is going to leave you a long distance sniper, but that may be something you prefer, especially if you do play with precision balls, because that obviously changes a lot of things when it comes to par 4 like this, because before we always pushed into long iron range. Now I'm not so sure if that's actually the best thing to do, because playing into long iron, which is what I'm doing here as well in the video, is going to require loads of rings to pull on the approach, even if we're going with the rough bump. Whereof a sniper, it's not going to require to do that much of rings to pull. So again, changes a lot, especially with the precision balls in mind. But we're down there adjusting for max, obviously max club, and we're doing 20% elevation. Second shot, I would say the true club distance elevation, or the true elevation, is 40% here. However, though, what we need to have in mind when we're playing a shot like this is that wind push after we've hit, after we have landed with our first bounce, it's going to push us a lot to the left due to us playing so downhill. It's also difficult in the sense to the difficult part here is to be able to be accurate with the amount of rings to pull, as we cannot zoom in more than what I'm doing here in the video. And especially with a high accuracy club like the B52, it's gonna be difficult to know if you're pulling 14.2 or if you're pulling 14.5, unfortunately. So that could maybe be something to just have in mind in terms of when you're playing this type of hole. If you decide to go this route, such a downhill shot, maybe play with a club with less accuracy to allow for an easier ring pull, so you're not missing by that amount of margin that I'm doing myself. Sure, it's an easy birdie in the end, but we're looking for an eagle always. For hole number 2, here we are going to start with a P5 ball at absolute minimum distance. We're looking to start with adding spins, this to be able to use the ball guideline as a reference. 4 backspin, 2.5 bar right spin. Now look to where my white ring is. I'm looking to have the white ring just inside the wood, or let's say like this, the clearing by the wood with the ball guideline as shown here on the video. Now, after you have found your position, we do want to swap to any power 0 to power 3 ball. This to make sure that we are going to not pulling to min club. Adjust 1 to 1, so super simple in that regard. And here you can see that we are adjusting very close to the water line, but the position and adjustment is chosen to not have us adjust down into the water even with the higher winds. And this angle that you can see on the video is the no tweak angle, and we are getting ourselves a nice hole in 1 here on hole number 2. Get our guides on patreon.com/golfclashtommy for pro, expert and master for the winter major tournament. For hole number 3, which is hole number 6 of the Kohong Resorts, we are going to use a power 4 ball here playing over the right hand side. The reason I'm playing with a power 4 ball is to allow us to always reach with the sniper. Now, when we do play from the third tee, which is Master Division, it's not really wrong to play with a Cataclysm, because the Cataclysm playing in Master should be at least level 5 or better, which in the end is going to result into a decent ball guideline on the approach. And using the cat in that sense would make it a possibility to actually play with a power 3 ball to allow for precision, for an example. Max plus 10 is the drive, and here it's going to be, again, down to what type of wind angle we have. If we do have a crappy headwind, it's going to be very difficult to make it over on the right hand side, where of tailwind we can actually send it to get close to green, where of anything in between it's a layup on the right. Second shot, like I said, it's a sniper, and here you can see the value in having a power 4 ball if we want to use a sniper. But yet again, you can most likely play this one with a Cataclysm, which would make you be in approximately plus 6 yards due to the 8 yards more power on the Cataclysm, which would then make room for a P3 ball. No elevation, and it's again true club distance if we're playing it without any notes, but obviously having a landing position check, fringe check, pin check, or anything like that will allow you for being more spot on with your shot. Adjust, stand to the ball, and hit perfect. Obviously hitting perfect with a non-precision in Master is truly a challenge, but we do it this time. And we are bouncing into the rough, and the ball rolls up towards the pin, and we're missing just left for the albatross here in hole number 3, which is hole number 6 of the Kohong Resorts. Hole number 7, option number 1. We're gonna start with quarterback and sniper, because we're gonna play from absolute min line. 1 left spin and 1.2 top spin. And here we're using a Marlin ball to set up to ultimately then get the landing spot and also the ball guideline. Ball guideline through the hole, then swapping to any P0 wind 5 ball. Have in mind that if you are swapping to a P0 with topspin boost, then you will have to respin. But if you're swapping to a backspin boost ball, as we're not using backspin, you don't have to respin, which is a good thing. Adjust is going to be min minus 15% elevation, P0 numbers minus 0.1. The reason I'm doing in that way is because there wasn't a way for in the app to give me exactly the number that I want. Landing further back as we have a slight headwind, and therefore it will be then great left and great right safe as well. Perfect ball will have a good chance. This is the no tweak angle, so here we just center the ball, but obviously wind angle tweaks this will be presented in Telegram and also in the guide as per usual. Get our guide on patreon.com/golf-tommy for pro, expert and master. Take your game to the next level with our ultimate tournament text guide for the Eastern Odyssey Tournament. And we are offering guides for Pro, Expert and Master Division, obviously updating for the wind changes throughout the different rounds, catering to free-to-play and also paid balls. Scan the QR code here on the screen, or you go directly to patreon.com/golf-tommy and notice yourself how much you will save in both time and money by investing in any of our guides. We are offering something for each and every one, not just for tournament, but also for tour play. So scan the QR code or use the link and sign up today. On hole number 5, which is Kohong Resorts hole number 9, this is a tough one if we do have a headwind, because that will not allow us to get to the spot that we normally play from. But if it is a crosswind or it is a tailwind, we're gonna have a pretty friendly time here. And as we now have precision balls, especially in Master Division, we will have a much easier time to dial in the second shot, because it will more or less always be a long distance wood club. Sure, the left side is in play if we do have a tailwind. It's not going to be an easy one to drop still, but then you can reach over the water on the left and put yourself into short iron range, which most definitely is going to be an appealing thing for many players. Max plus 10 on the drive using all the side spin. Don't use too much top spin, as it's easy to misjudge that and roll into the rough. 5 to 6 bars of top spin is enough. Second shot, we're playing with our sniper, and we're looking to judge what club distance that we do have. There is a possibility to play a rough bump on the right hand side, which unfortunately then require a cataclysm, but it could be a way of minimizing the need of a lot of adjustment and spot on wind angle tweaks. There is a little sticky spot, and playing into that one is definitely something that we would prefer, but it's not as easy as it looks. So aiming with the ball guideline short of the pin, what you need to have in mind here is that this ball generally comes in hot, and that's something that we have all learned by playing this hole many times, that even if we leave it very short, it's very easy to come in too hot, hit the pin and bounce out. A little bit too much to the right, but in the end though, this is most definitely a tough one to drop on a consistent basis, but the drop is definitely there, but need a little luck. On option number 1, we're starting with P2 ball at NMT with the rock, moving 7 rings right and from NMT, and then we're swapping to Thor's Hammer bag. This is a Thor's Hammer 7 and 8 play, as we do want to go with all the topspin together with all the topspin boosts. Now swap to a P3, topspin boost 5, side spin 1 ball. Adjust is going to be, let us have a look at that. I'm playing 1-1 with Thor's Hammer level 8, has to be said. That's going to be max, no elevation, P1 numbers. And here we're going to use a different amount of rings of overpower depending on what wind angle we have. Because the fact is here now that even if we're having so much topspin, we will still sometimes clip the rough with our second bounce. And if we do not do that, then obviously we're going to be down here for a wedge, which is the ultimate outcome. If we do clip the rough, we're going to play a rings from min with our thorn, which is going to be a solid one as well. It's just obviously so much more easier when it comes to the wedge. Playing with outside wall left curl, the reason I'm not using more curl is that the more curl you're using, the more you put the tree to the right in play, and we don't want to clip that tree because then it's definitely game over for the eagle. Please check the second shot for both the thorn but also then the wedge as well, as to give you some references for the approach. When it comes to the wedge here, we are going to always be around 70 to 80% of our club. I mean, sure, it could differ a couple of percentage here and there as well, but that's going to be approx the area. Max topspin and topspin boost ball guideline into the hole. We're going to play with Embringer 7 and Embringer 8 with the topspin boost. We're playing minus 50% elevation P2 numbers. And if we are playing with no spin, we're playing plus 20 P3. Make the adjustment and hit perfect. For hole number 7, which is hole number 2 of the Cajon Resorts, I'm playing here from the absolute min line with a P5 ball. And you can see here now that I'm setting the spins, and it's a lot of backspin with our quarter back. And then in the end, we are looking to use only the yellow ring as our reference to be just by the rough line, making our adjustment, which will obviously vary depending on what spins that you're setting, but the true elevation for this particular hole is 25%. Using a wind 5 ball here as well as the massively downhill here makes this ball being pushed by the wind a lot. Perfect ball it is. And we can see here now that we bounce on the fairway down towards the pin, dropping nicely for an hole-in-one. There are multiple ways of playing this hole, and I do believe that this is going to, regardless what wind direction we have, be a pretty good chance. On the drive here on hole number 8, we're gonna start with the quarterback and a P0 ball, doesn't matter which one, in NMT. And we're going to go all the top spin and 2 right spin. You can play with any P2 plus ball, side spin 2 and wind 5. Adjust max plus 10 P3. Now we're going to go max overpower with a slow needle and going approximately 2 balls of right curl. Perfect ball it is, and now 2 things can happen. One, you have dead bounces, then you're gonna go to around 350 yards. Or you do have this type of rollout, which gets you to around 360 yards. So important to look at your yardage and then be prepared for the second shot, because the second shot will have the same type of wind angle tweaks. It's just that it's going to have 2 different type of checks. So it's important that you do check the correct slide for the second shot. On the second shot for the longer drive, the drive that goes around 460 yards, we do top of the white ring check, and we are then going to go with 5.1 top spin. You see 5 and a click basically. Ball guideline to be through the hole, bullseye by the edge, the rough, and you can see as well that the ball guideline goes 3 green squares through the hole, and this is with the B52. Now this is the no tweak angle. We're going to play this with a base of +5, which is then 68% slider, no elevation, P3 numbers, adding or subtracting 0.1 for every yard. I'm gonna center the ball and hit perfect, and we're gonna see ourselves clip the rough nicely and rolls down onto the green dead center for a lovely eagle here on hole number 8. On hole number 9, and now playing with a P3 ball is to push it, but if you do want to play precision P3 ball, then this is a little bit of a gamble. Start with QB NMT with P3 ball, and we are going to go with swapping to a POC and cat bag, max top spin to left spin, max curl and max overpower after adjusting max plus 10 P3. If you do play with a POC 7, you're going to move half a ring left whilst having QB on, then swap to a POC, and then you push up half a 0.2 rings after the adjustment. From there we compensate with the top spin and also the lesser curl, so that's important to do. It's obviously will be listed in Telegram and also in the guide. The reason I say it's a gamble with a P3 ball is that if you do hit a great left, you're more likely to have dead bounces. Then you will not reach to do the rough bump on the approach, and then you have to play the backup option, which is droppable, but it's not as good. If you do have dead bounces with a perfect, which unfortunately can happen, but happen very rarely of the 18 times I played this drive in practice, and in 18 times it happened 1 time, but it's there, so we need to have that in mind as well. Then play the backup option. To be able to avoid to have to care about that, you can always play with a P4 or P5 ball and make sure that you always have the distance when it comes to the approach. On the second shot, we're going to do a rough bump. Here you're going to have catalyst level 7 or 8 to be able to play this shot. We are going to set topspin based on plus yardage to not come in too hot or not come in too slow. So if we are at +4, +5, we are going to be using 0.9 bars of back topspin and 1 right spin. Ball guideline to go through the hole. And then we're going to make an adjustment that's going to be 72% slider, no elevation, P3 numbers, and that is from +4 and +5. Then we're gonna do wind angle tweaks. We're gonna do one OP, one UP, or center ball for the 3 angles here. Hit perfect, and ball lands into the rough, rolls up on towards the green, and dropping left side. And the reason I'm dropping left side is due to the fact that I am slightly too much left with my ball guidelines position at start. So it makes sense that it drops there. What needs to have in mind here that the precision ball is definitely helpful, but it's not a must. Please check out the drop from the backup option if the drive is not going the distance that you want and you still have gambled by going with a P3 ball. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for the Eastern Odyssey Tournament here in Golf Clash, the Game Master Division, with a mix of the Kohong Resorts and the Shifeng Basin. Scan the QR code here on the screen or go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtom. You do have the link in the description down below for the best guides on the market. Thank you once again for watching, and I wish you the best of luck in your Golf Clash game.